Hello y'all on YouTube, this is Rob with Rob's Nerdy Knives. Today we're going to do a review of a couple of knives that was loaned to me by Heroic EDC. Let's talk about these guys. These are pretty cool. Alright, today we're looking at two knives from Heroic EDC. They allowed me to check out. These are knives that they sell, so I haven't used them. There's going to be no abuse and use of these knives. I'm just getting a chance to handle them, and they'll be going right back to them, and they need to go back to them right away because they may be sold already, so who knows. So I'm just handling them, looking at them, kind of getting a feel for them. That's what we're going to do here today. So first of all, both of these knives are from Medford Knives, okay? And so you have the certificate of authenticity. This is the Antik, yeah, the Antik, sorry. And then this one right here is the TFF-4. So in case you're wanting to look, there's the certificate of authenticity for each of these knives. And these are pretty cool. These are really cool. I've not always been a Medford fan, but these are the two knives that I think I would like the most for folding knives. I have a slip joint gentleman jack that I love. It's a great knife. Really, really recommend those. One of their best knives I think they make is that slip joint. But these are really good contenders. So let's talk about them. I want to do them together because I got to get these back to them. So sorry for the quick review. This is like a round robin, super fast review. All right, first of all, I love the fact that both of these guys are thinner blades. They're not the super overbuilt, super thick blades. So that is the first thing that I like. One's a front flipper, one's a regular flipper. So I think that's really cool. The designer, I believe it's Medford, and then I believe the knife name. This is the Antik. This is the TFF-4. Manufacturer is Medford Knives, made in the USA. Scale materials, both of these are titanium. This one has like a green, kind of a darkened kind of anodization. This one's a black, I want to say anodized, maybe DLC. I don't know if it's a DLC or anodized, but either way, it looks pretty cool. Let's talk about the lock type. Both of these are frame locks, and you'll notice that very similar frame locks. So, and you can see why I kind of thought they would go together, because there's some similarities here, but there's differences. Aesthetically, very big differences, but similarity in manufacturing, right? You have the over travel stops, which I think is really cool. Similar screw types. You got the clip. This one's a little bit longer and a little rounder, easy going in and out of the pocket. This one's a little thinner. This is going to be a little more subtle, a little more subdued, if you will. I think one is a little thicker than the other, but that has a lot to do with the inlay that you have on here. So I think that's pretty cool. So the lock type is a frame lock. There's no steel bar insert over travel stop. It's steel on, it's titanium on steel, so it's been carbonized. Great angles. As long as your angles are good, you're usually just no problem, right? All right, let's talk about the opening. The TFF-4 has a flipper, and you'll notice, I believe this, they were telling me this is DLC. I thought it was like a heat anodized or heat treated, like a fire or whatever, but this is supposed to be DLC. So you have this right here. It is a flipper. It runs on phosphor bronze washers, which actually is pretty decent action. This one is like a full satin, hand satin, if you will, blade with a little stone wash up there, kind of a polished stone wash. This is a front flipper. Again, you have that lock bar and that pretty nice action. Very thin. Got a nice back spacer, I believe. Yeah, this is a titanium back spacer on this guy, but this one is a steel back spacer on this guy. So a little different between the two. All right. What else we have? I talked about the clips. We talked about the opening and the closing. It's actually not pretty good to get in there. I mean, it's a little stiff. I think if I were to buy one of these, I would tune that detent just a little bit, and I might oil the washer, maybe polish it to get a little smoother action. I've done that with my Chris Reeve knife and some other phosphor bronze, knives. I love the front flipper on this guy, and I think it could potentially be something that you could tune and you could break going up that way. But right now it's a little stiff. It's got a good crisp detent. Let's listen to that detent here real quick. Nice and clickety, no detent lash. We have no blade rock, no pivot lash, no pivot rock or anything like that. So that's really cool. Same over here. No pivot lash, no blade rock, no pivot lash, no pivot anything. You have the blade stop and the blade open stop, and the blade close stop pin is part of the blade and goes in and out like this. On this guy, I believe there is a pin. Yeah, there's a pin on this one. There's the pin, and when it closes, you're hitting that as well. So the pin closes up to about right there, And when it closes to about right there. So the choil is a little interesting. Somebody pointed that out. It is interesting. You could open this up, but you don't want to go back because your pin stops right there. So you got to make sure you don't go further back if you decide to modify. I love the Tanto blade. I love the satin finish. It is a flat grind on this guy, but a beautiful thin one. We'll do some measurements here in a second. This one is a hollow grind, and it's got a beautiful swedge on top that I really like. I love the shape of this blade. It's nice. And I love the inlays, these beautiful inlays. Oh, it's just simply gorgeous. I think that's awesome. All right, so the blade shape, we've got a Tanto, kind of a Tanto drop, but it's definitely Tanto. This would be a drop point to me. Some people might call it a dagger. I think it's a drop point. We're going to just go with that. All right, let's do some measurements in this guy. Let's weigh him. Where's my scale? Where'd my scale go? Where'd it go? Oh, there you are. All right, so we're going to move these off to the side. Like I said, these are not my knives, so I'm not going to do a whole lot with them. I just want to measure them. This is the TFF-4. Let's see what the measurements are on this one. 5.3 ounces on that guy. And then let's see what it is on this guy over here. I think it's a little less, probably 4.8. 4.5, so definitely a little bit lighter. Probably due with the inlay. There's not a whole lot of weight relief in there. It's a pretty solid, but it's a thin slab, a slab of titanium, which, you know, if you know Medford, typically they're way overbuilt, so that's a really thin one there. All right, so let's do some measurements here. I love opening these. Got a nice crisp opening. I think that's really cool. So the first one we're going to measure here. Whoa. Almost lost it there. So this one weighs from the tip goes, this is about 8 1/4 overall length. This one over here is just a little over 8 1/4 because you got this little tip sticking out, so that makes it just a hair longer. It's right at 8 1/4. Hold on. Then this one is about exactly the same with that, I guess. All right, so handle-wise, from here to here, you got about 4. If you go all the way down, you got about 4 1/4. For this one over here, you're about 4 1/4. If you were to choke up, which you have a little bit, I mean, I wouldn't recommend it, but you could get 4 1/2, right? So big, large hands with big, meaty fingers, definitely plenty of room back here for extra large, double extra large hands with big, meaty fingers. Blade length on the TFF-4 is going to be 3 5/8. Cutting length is going to be 3 3/8. All right, overall length here is going to be 3 3/4. And cutting length is going to be just shy, and it's going to be, I want to say, 3 3/8. All right, so similar cutting length on both of them. All right, let's talk about the blade stock thickness. This is one of those unique things when you really get excited to measure a Medford, because typically Medfords they're big, they're thick, and they're big. All right, so let's see, what do we got here? The TFF-4, we're looking at a blade stock thickness of 149 thousandths of an inch, which feels incredibly thin, and it's not, but it just seems thin. 149 thousandths of an inch. Let's see what this guy is over here. Is he as thick? 125 thousandths of an inch. So that is much thinner. Why is this one so thick? Am I correct? I thought it would be thinner. It is. Okay, so that's why it's heavier. All right, that's why I think I favor that one just a little bit more, to be fair. Okay. All right, so we're looking at knives. These are definitely going to be in the high-end knife based on what you do with them, what kind of anodization, you know, Damascus, ghost Damascus, inlays. It can easily move them up to the mid to custom range. Okay, so you just have to understand that they can move around there. Both of these right here, I believe this one was right at 5 something or 500. So this one's going to be right at the high end of the high end. This one here is right, I think, at just past 600. I'll have to double check on the website, maybe under 600, but still USA made, quality knife. I mean, you are getting more. I've looked at some of these Medfords before. This is some of the, I like this more. I like what he's doing here. This is more my cup of tea, but I also like what he's doing. I think it's pretty cool. All right, so what's the purpose of these? EDC hard use collection pieces, absolutely collection pieces. If you wanted to collect these, you wanted to have, you know, safe queens, people could do that easily. But here's the thing, everything I've ever heard about Medfords is that they're hard use carry knives. I mean, that's the intent. It's kind of like Rick Henderer, like Chris Reeve. You know, everyone wants these knives to be hard working knives, and I'm pretty sure with Medford it's the same. I would feel very comfortable with that, honestly. So I would say hard use on both of them, especially being frame locks and being as solid as they are. Even the thinner form version here, I think, would still be absolutely solid. Absolutely EDC. These would be fantastic to EDC. Highly recommend that. Matter of fact, I'm planning on getting one of these right here for my collection. I like this one, but I like this one more, and I'm not going to buy like I don't have the money to buy one of everything, right? But I would very much like to get one of these in. So I've actually asked Heroic EDC if they could find something that's like a plain Jane Silver Surfer kind of version. I'm hoping that there's something out there because I like that. I like the Silver Surfer version. I think it look really, this I think would look really nice in that, my personal opinion. All right, so overall, what do I think about the handles? The handles on this one are smooth. It's got a texture. It's not super slippery smooth. It's got a little texture up here, which I think is nice. It does give you a little bit of grip when you're holding it. Even when you're doing, if you're doing a left-handed reverse over here and you're trying to do left-handed, you got a little grip there, and it makes this easier to front flip as well. I think I could get this to the point where I could do the knuckle flip. It's not broken in yet, so this is going to be painful if I don't do it right. See, I could do it. It's not broken in yet, and I don't want to break it in because it's still somebody else's knife, right? But I think it would work really, really well. This one over here, the flipper, it needs a little bit of oil. It definitely, that would give it a little extra crisp and pop going out, I think, because right now, the resistance on the phosphor bronze washers makes it not pop out as much. All right, so opening and closing I think is great. Again, I would loosen the strength of the lock bar because it's a little stiff. I've gotten more used to it, I will tell you. So, you know, it might be less, but it's still a little tight for fidgetness, right? So I would say if I could, you know, loosen that lock bar just a touch for myself, I think it would make it more comfortable. This one's a little easier to get to, and definitely, I think, I don't know, maybe very slightly if I were to do one on that one. All right, textures. I love the texture here. I think that's nice. I love this texture. I think this inlay is gorgeous. I think it's fantastic. Jimping, there's really no jimping on this one. I'm sure some of his other knives have jimping. There is jimping on the flipper, and it's very adequate, very easy to use. I really appreciate that. There is jimping up here, and it works. It's functional jimping. You can go over it, and you push down, and you're locked in. So that's nice. And I do like a little texture here, as I like a little texture here too. And a clip that you can actually use, right? Some people like really small clips. I don't mind a clip if it's done well and it's comfortable. And these clips are rounded. They're not harsh. They're not uncomfortable. They're not sharp. I really, even this one that's a little thinner and feels sharp, it's not. It's rounded. So I really appreciate that. All right, there is a lanyard hole on this one, certainly. Over here you have not really a lanyard or anything, so this is kind of a non-lanyard priority on that one. So, you know, that's something to keep in mind. The clips I like. This one is a little deeper, has a little bit more flexibility. Sometimes some of the Medfords clips are not as flexible. I think this one would work. I'm not going to try it because I don't want to mess with it. Again, you'll have to tell me if you have one of these what you think about it. All right, so ergos, design, flow, and function. Ergos are really nice on these guys. They're not sharp, they're not edgy. Everything's rounded really well. There's no sharp corners. It's easy to get to. Just like I said, I would tune that just a little bit, but it's got potential. I like it. I like it. This is the most enjoyable Medfords I've ever, folding knives, non-slip joint knives I've ever handled, and I really dig these. These are really cool. Okay, so I think the ergos are great. I think the action's actually pretty good. These are close to being almost perfect. Look at that. You can have that drop shut for phosphor bronze. It's almost like a Chris Reeve knife. This is kind of like one that I can drop shut. I love that. I think that's great. The function is good. I love the Tanto blade here. It's a nice thin blade. Definitely gonna have some nice meaty pokey tip to get in dog food, cat food, fertilizer, mulch, all sorts of stuff. It's got a little finger guard just enough so you don't worry about sliding and slipping off, so you got yourself locked in. There's no sharp edges everywhere. I like the details. I like the details. So I think that's good. This is nice and round. It's not a sharp pinchy spot. Sometimes you'll have that 90 degree. That's not fun. That's not fun at all. All right, so what do I think about fidget factor? So this is a flipper only. I will say, I'll take a little points away. I would love to have gotten to this fuller. This is a faux fuller. I know people call it double R groove, whatever. But I love it as a fuller to open. I can't get to it. I would love for that. If I were to ever get this knife, I would want the all plain Jane titanium, and I would probably mill that out just enough so I can get my finger in there, because I would love to be able to take advantage of that. I think that would just make this knife really fantastic. This is a front flipper only, and I don't mind that. And it's done well. It's so close to being perfect, right? And I absolutely can see myself getting this tuned just perfectly. Or some people will say broken in, because it might be breaking in as we speak here, you know, so the next person who actually gets it, they're gonna think it's perfect. So I would give, as far as fidget factor, being a front flipper over and being a flipper only here, I'm going to give this one a 3.5, so I'll round up to a 4, because everything works well. This one I'm going to give a 3. It would have been 3.5, but you had that full fuller. I mean, come on, it's such a tease. So you lose a half a point for the tease. It's still a great knife. I still like it. I'm just telling you, I'm gonna take some fidget factor scale away from you because of the faux filter. Don't give me that if I can't get access to it. It kind of bums me out. So it's just, you know, don't tease like that. Come on. Fidgety goodness. I would say this one is probably a 95. It's a solid A. I think it could get to a much higher grade. I think it could get to 98, maybe 100. Absolutely. This one as well, I think it could get to a much higher grade. I would give this one a 95 as well. Maybe a 92. Maybe an A-, just right now as it is right now. And that could be because of the DLC. It's not quite as smooth as this one is, but I think it would get there. So who knows? Both A's, A-, A, still solid. I still feel really good. It's the best I've ever reviewed a Medford. So, I mean, this is like lights out, okay? So, final thoughts. Are they recommended? Both are absolutely recommended. I like them both. I really do. I like one a little bit more. I'm going to tell you, I like one a little more. This could almost make my favorites. It's not quite. It's definitely recommended. It's not my favorites because of the two. This is my favorites. This is the one I would like to get into my collection at some point. So this is definitely going to be a favorites for sure. This one is still highly recommended if you like the flipper only. There's so much good about it. I think in time it could absolutely get into my favorites. If I owned it and I tuned it, I think they both would be there. I really do. I'm just telling you, first impressions. It's not my knife. I can't do anything to it. So I'm just giving you that perspective, and take it for what you will. I think this one's real close to getting into my favorites. This one absolutely makes it it's my first Medford ever in my favorites, ever. So that's a feat. Well, besides the slip joint. This is my first ever favorite of any Medford knife. So that's a big deal. And I really appreciate that. I really dig this knife a lot. And it just tells me that you can get that action even with phosphoronds and enjoy it. So big thumbs up on that. I really enjoy both of these. I think they're great. Let's do a little zoom in here. We're going to zoom in a little bit here so you can see the knives together. So here we have the blade shape. You can see the drop point, nice fuller Medford M4. These are S45VN blade steel, which I think is great. And that's a good solid steel to use. Hinder, Medford, Spyderco, a lot of people use that. I have a lot of knives in it. I think it's great. Then you get into this really fantastic part of the handles. Both of these are very unique. I love the bronze accents with the green. This is kind of a copper sort of, you know, finish, but it's anodized. I love it. I think it's cool. It's not quite copper, it's titanium, but I do like that a lot. I really dig this. This is super cool. This is something I hope I see more of. This is different than regular jig. It's different than an inlay. It's unique, and I've not seen this in any other knife before. You guys tell me if you have. I have not. I think this is something unique. First time I've ever experienced with Medford, and I dig it. I dig it a lot. So there you go. Both of these are going to have a back spacer, right? Relatively thin blade. This one's a much thinner. This one's a little thicker blade. It just feels very thin compared to other Medfords, but it's not. This is definitely a thicker. Yeah, back spacer has a full back spacer, which is a little extra nice touch, right? I think that's kind of cool. I don't hate that. You look at the clips, you can see this clip a little bit wider, a little deeper angle, so you can get in there a little more. This one is not quite as deep, but still nice. It can get in there. It's a little sleeker. It's a little more gentlemanly, kind of churchy kind of knife. I love the anodization, the bronze anodization here, the green anodization here as well. Green it's a little extra anodization, it's a little harder. This one has a little writing, made in America or made in the United States of America. I love the over travel stop there. It's the Hinder over travel stop. You got the Chris Reeve or the Reeve integral, which is part of the knife. That's cool. Love the big old pivot screws. I think that's cool. I don't mind this track being off. Some people are going to be all bothered by it. I know you could probably round that up, make it a little bit longer, but I think what we're going for here is efficiency, tightness of the knife to get it nice and sleek. I'm okay with that. I really am. I don't hate it, so I'm totally fine with that, just so you know. I love the screws. I love everything about it. So let's look in here. There's no weight relief on these guys. There's no cutout. I do love that the lock bar is cut out for the, you know, to tune the lock bar. It's done on the inside, makes it very smooth. There is some chamfering going on in here. This sticks up a little bit, and you'd think that would be kind of weird and awkward, but it actually works with this little sticking up. It makes it a little more comfortable. This one is not bad at all. It could be a little deeper for sure, but It's a very stiff bar, and it's gotten better, so I think I might be okay with it. It's ironic that I would say that, but I think so. Everything's rounded. I love all of that. It's rounded all the way around. And let's look at the blade on the back side. Again, minimal billboarding. I mean, relatively speaking. Here you've got the 409025, the number. I don't know if this one has a number anywhere else. Is it on the inside of the scale? It looks like there's something on the inside. Yeah, it looks like it's on the inside of the scale. So this one's on the blade, the other one's on the inside of the scale. Still a nice blade shape. I think they're both really, really stunning. All right, so I am going to kind of do a little, let's do a little zoom out here. We'll get a nice little picture for our little thumbnail picture, right? So let's do that. We're gonna get that beautiful, I love the jig, I call it jig titanium, I don't know what they call it, crater titanium. It's nice, it's just really nice. I think it's really cool. But of the two, I would love to have this on this. It would be the perfect knife, right? If you could do that, that would be so cool. But it would make this one thicker, I think. And I get it. You need something thicker to support that. And I don't know. I should see, is that screwed on there or is it glued on there? I'm looking. What do we have? We have screws. Yeah, they are attached. Okay, so that's fair. Yeah, so this isn't an attached. It looks like it can come off, so that's nice. Just something to think about. I mean, I don't have a problem with that, personally. I really don't. I think that's perfectly fine with me. All right, so there you go. There is the knife, the blade shape, everything. I really do dig it. I don't know what you think. Definitely, like I said, both are recommended. This is a favorites. It's real close to being a favorites. I think it could be if I owned it and tuned it. I'm just telling you, take that with a grain of salt, right? These are the first Medfords I have really dug, and I want one of these. So I just, that's a big deal for me, if you didn't know that. All right. Hey, if you found this content fun, interesting, helpful, entertaining, fun, whatever, would you consider hitting that like button? If you've already hit that like button, maybe consider hitting the subscribe button as well. Subscribing or liking the channel, it really does help me out. Allows me to produce more content, do more things, ultimately more things for you guys. So thank you to everyone out there who watches the videos, part of the channel, part of the community. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you. If you haven't already, maybe consider hitting the notification button as well so you can be notified of future content like this and other videos. And a big shout out, huge shout out to my channel members. Appreciate you. Do two amazing things. You encourage me. Thank you for that. Sincerely, thank you. Secondly, because of your generous support, you allow me to do things sooner than I ever thought I could in this channel, and I'm grateful for that. Thank you as well. As a result of that, I want to do two things for you. All brand new channel members, I'd love to mail you a channel sticker and a thank you note. So, brand new channel members, email me with the name and address. I'd love to mail you a channel sticker and a thank you note. Secondly, channel members are now eligible for the members giveaway. I do that once a month. There'll be a budget banger giveaway each week thanks to the members. You have a big hand in that, so I appreciate you. But once a month, there'll be 2 giveaways for that month, and you're eligible for both. And I've seen one member win both. So it can happen, just so you know. But you're eligible for both. Now, the budget banger giveaway, that's for everybody, but then the members giveaway is usually a little nicer in budget banger, something hopefully you'd enjoy winning or giving as a gift. So just keep that in mind. Make sure it's something special for you guys. All right, well, I appreciate you. If you guys think that's interesting, you want to be a member, you're curious, there's a link down below in the description. I have 3 different tiers. Would love to have you. Don't ever do it because you feel obligated. Don't ever do it because anybody's pressure. Do it because you want to. And if you choose to do it, thank you. Sincerely, thank you, right? It is your choice, and I'm grateful if you do. I don't want anybody ever to feel pressured. I appreciate you just watching the content, just being part of the channel. I appreciate that. Just know that. That's more than enough for me, so thank you. There's also extra stuff that you can get for a channel member, like once a year anniversary, 2-year anniversaries. There's special emojis, all sorts of stuff. If that's cool, check it out. All right. If you haven't already, maybe check me out over on Instagram at robs_nerdy_knives. Again, that's on Instagram at robs_nerdy_knives. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day and a great week.